Okay, so now I'm going to talk about how to actually carry out this types of reaction lab. Now, most of the reactions that you're going to do today are aqueous reactions, okay? And that what that means is that both reactants and the products that are going to be formed in the presence of water. So for these reactions, you don't need a lot of material. You just need about 1 milliliter. You can measure that out initially with the water on a graduate cylinder and pour it in one of your small test tube to be able to approximate how much volume you need to have, and then from then on you can just pour that same amount into other small test tubes of your reactants, and that should be all you need to see any kind of reaction. Okay, now it's also important that since these are all aqueous species, you don't really need to wash your test tube super clean. You can dump out your reactions once you finish with them, and then rinse them with water, pour out the water. You don't need to dry them because you're going to do another aqueous reaction, so you're just going to need to uh, put in another 1 milliliter of the new reactant and then go on from there. Now, there are several reactions that generate either gases or something that might spill out if you put it in small test tubes. So as a result, these have to be done in large test tubes. And there's one reaction that has to be done in a beaker. So just make sure you pay attention to that in your procedure. I'm telling you right now that C2, D4, and D6, those reactions have to be done in large test tubes. So please make sure to write this down on your notes. The ones that you're writing down as you're watching this video. That reaction that needs to be done in a beaker is reaction D5, so make sure you keep that in mind when you're doing this. There are three reactions that I'm going to demonstrate at the beginning of the lab, so before anybody starts the reaction, I'm going to demo all of these three first, and then afterwards you can go on with the other types of reactions, okay? Now, for some of the reaction, they're going to ask you to determine what type of substance is produced using a litmus paper. And there's two colors to the litmus paper that you need to know. It's red and blue. So the litmus paper look like this, and you can use either one. Now, let me tell you how to interpret the color of the litmus paper. If you have a solution that's considered acidic, if you dip the red litmus paper, it will stay red. If you dip the blue litmus paper, it will turn red. If you have a basic solution, the red paper will turn blue, the blue one will stay blue. Now, what happens if you have a neutral solution? Well, with a neutral solution, your blue will stay blue and your red will stay red, okay? So here's actually how things look like when you actually put the either acid or base onto the litmus paper. So here's a red litmus paper, and when I put a drop of base on it, you see that it's turning blue. Here's a blue litmus paper. I put a drop of acid on it. You can see that it's turning red. So that's one way to detect the presence of either an acid or a base in your solution, is by using this litmus paper. There's a experiment that requires you to detect whether the gas is acidic or basic. In that case, what you need to do is actually take the litmus paper and put it on the mouth of the test tube. Make sure the litmus paper is moistened, so it's wet with a little water on it, so it will attract the gas. And then if the litmus paper changes to another color, then you know whether the gas is acidic or basic. All right.